I'd go to the grocery store, and people would make fun of me. I'd try to go to church, and the pastor asked me not to come.
Vicki Landrum has struggled to convince the government and the public that contact with extraterrestrials has left her scarred and riddled with disease.
Well, it's not just a light in the sky or somebody thinks they saw something. A real serious case, you know they've seen something. It changes people's lives. They're never the same afterwards if they've had a close encounter or if they've been injured.
Houston, 1980. They were driving on a deserted road. Betty Cash, Vicki Landrum, and her 7-year-old grandson, Colby. They claim to have had a UFO encounter that left more than memories burned in the minds of these 3 victims.
I kept screaming for Betty to get back in the car. So finally she come to get back in the car, and when she caught hold of that handle, it burned her ring into her finger. That car was that hot.
They all had stomach aches, they all had diarrhea, they all vomited, they were all burned, they all developed sores later. They all lost some hair. Mrs. Cash, most of her hair, Mrs. Landrum less, and the boy even less. But in each case, something happened that is typical of radiation exposure.
My eyes were burned so till they swelled till I couldn't hardly see. I couldn't see how to read or watch TV or do nothing. And every time I'd get out in the sun, it'd be big blisters, and I had sores all over my arms. After this happened to me, well, I couldn't work. I didn't have no friends to talk to. So it just made me like a hermit.
The Cash Landrum case, as I call it, to me is a very significant case because we have a situation where we had a very large flying machine that came over the road that actually left marks on the road, so you know where it was exactly. It left burns on the trees. It left burns on the people. It changed their physiology. It's a composite of many UFO cases all rolled into one with very horrifying results.
I kept trying to calm Colby, and I couldn't. I had to tell him something that would calm him. And I said, if you see this big man come out of it, it'd be Jesus.
Well, I just had a feeling to look up in the sky. Then I looked around a little bit more and I saw that object. It looked like a diamond. It lit up the whole sky.
It was a grayish, metallic-looking color. But yet the flames that was throwing out was a reddish, yellowish-looking glow.
Besides the strange object, they all claim to have seen several helicopters hovering around it.
Just about the minute that I got up close enough to really make the shape of the object, whatever it is, the helicopters were there.
We was amazed at, you know, what kind of helicopters there were. We were about scared to death. The double rotary kind of helicopters, I'd never saw one before.
Whatever they saw that night, the physical impact was immediate. Within hours, they were suffering from severe headaches, diarrhea, and vomiting. Betty Cash had the worst symptoms.
Her main problem at that time was severe headache, swelling of the face, swelling of the eyelids, and the swelling of the skull, that is the top of the head.
The fear of ridicule kept Betty from telling about her UFO encounter. But weeks later, when patches of her hair started falling out, she told her doctor about the incident.